All right, guys, we're going to take about our data sheet. So you should have that glued in now. We're just going to talk about it. So on the left side, you can see that now this is all your units. So this is unit 1, 2, 3, part of unit 4, and then it finishes on this side. All right, so all 4 units are getting tested. And I'm just going to go over how we are going to be filling out our data sheet starting on unit 1. So unit 1 has these AKSs, A, B, C, and D. These are the Delta Math titles. So if you need additional practice, you click on these titles to practice that specific standard AKS. All right. GCPS on the interim made a 54% on this 1A standard. I don't know which questions they were here, but it was a 54%. Okay. AKS 1B, GCPS in the interim made a 72%. So again, I don't know what the questions were here. However, they made a 72%. And you can see what did GCPS make all the way down to unit 3. It does not go past unit 3 because that's where the interim was. So now the final is going to have unit 1 through 3 and unit 4. So now let's talk about the 2 tests that we've taken since the interim. So now we have 4A. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to test 4A, and I'm just going to show you really quickly. So you pull up your pair assessment, and then you go to your grades. Once you go to your grades, of course, go ahead and select me so that it doesn't show you all other grades, right? And then you're looking for 4A test. So see, this is 4B. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. All right, that's 4B, 4B, 4B. So just scroll down until you see 4A. So 4B, 4B. There's 4A. So I'm starting 4A. So the test must be close. Here it is. So week 13, Algebra 1, Unit 4A test modeling. All right, you can see that it's graded. It was completed on Monday, October 27th. And what I want you to do is click review. So I don't care, what the grade is. I care about us recording what it is that you need help with. You can see it's numbered by question. Question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, 6B, and so forth. Red means I got it wrong. Green means I got it right. Yellow means I got it partially right. So here is your summary for your entire test. And then to see the rest of the questions, you press the arrow, and then you can see all of your questions. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find question 1 on 4A, because this is 4A test, right? 4A test, question 1, I got it wrong. And I'm going to record that. So I'm going to come down to 4A, and I'm going to do this column right here, and I'm looking for these numbers to say number 1. So I keep going, and there is number 1. I got this question wrong, so I'm going to mark an X by it. That tells me I got it wrong in 4A. And I'm going to repeat this process for all the questions. I can see I got question 2 and 3 right. So I'm going to go again in 4A, looking for question 2 right there. I got that right. Question 3 right there. I got that right. Okay. And I'm going to keep repeating this process all the way through. So I got question 4 and 5 wrong. So I go question 4 was wrong. Question 5 was wrong. So just keep going. Now question 6 looks like there's 2 parts to it. So I'm just going to generalize it. So 6A I got wrong. 6B I kind of got it right. I don't want to deal in kindas because this tells me I need to practice. So I'm going to come to question 6 and I'm just going to say I got it wrong, right? Because I generally got it wrong. So again, even though there are 2 parts, kind of generalize where you are. Matter of fact, if you got any part of it wrong, just mark it wrong. That's what we're going to do. All right, so you're going to go ahead and complete, according to your data, right? Complete all of 4A. Once you've finished 4A, so go ahead and pause the video until you finish doing that. Once you finish 4A, you're going to go to 4B. And you're going to repeat the process for 4B. But this time in 4B, I realized that the questions were split, so I have them split for you. All right, so I'm going to go to test 4B. So again, I'm going to go to grades. Now, I'm recording this video before you've taken your test, so you actually haven't taken your test yet. So I'm going to use, let's see, what can I use? I'm actually going to use your study guide because today you're actually doing your study guide, your practice test. But you are not clicking your study guide. Please do not click your study guide. you are clicking 4B test. So you're going to go into grades and look for 4B test. But because we haven't done it yet, I'm going to use the study guide to show you as an example. So you're going to click on review. All right. And now when you hit review over here, you should see the colors again. And then to see the entire test, you would click to the right. And that would show you the rest of the questions. Right now, because this is a review, the grade has not been released yet, so you can't see the colors. But the process is the same. So you're going to come question 1. Let's say I got this question right, like it's green. Okay, so right, green, correct. Red, incorrect. Yellow, partially correct. All right, so let's say I got this one right. So let's say this one is green. I repeat the same process. This time I am on test 4B. So on 4B, 1 has 2 parts, and it should be split out. If it's not split up, do a generalized one. So do it for both. So if it's green and it's not split up when you actually do this, then I'm going to say 1A and 1B are right. All right. Then let's say I go and look at question 2. Question 2 is also split up. There's a 2B, and I don't see a 2A. So you're looking all the way down. So you're going to have to count. This is the 3rd column. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 3rd column. And I don't see question 2A for some reason. Maybe there wasn't a 2A, but that's fine. There's a 2B. So there's the question for 2. So let's say I got that right as well. So I check yes. Question 3, I scroll down on the 4B column. I look at question 3. Let's say I got that wrong. I mark an X. All right, let's go to question 4. And the question 4, if it's not split, again, you can just generalize it for both because they're both talking about domain and range anyway. So let's say I got those wrong or that one wrong. Okay, so that's what you're doing all the way down for 4B. Now you've completed your data for 4A and your data for 4B. Okay, and you'll notice the questions that were asked in 4B are not the same as 4A because you can see I asked these ones, then I asked these ones, I asked these ones here. So, and then there are some that overlap each other, like right here, these are overlapped. So for the questions that are not overlapped, okay, you need to see where you are. So keep in mind 4A was taken over a month ago. So do you still know question 2? I don't know. Go look at this Delta Math. Can you still do it? If so, then you know it. All right. I know this one because I just did this test, recently. So I know that. That means I need to practice this question that I got wrong. You're going to go use the video that I created. That's going to tell you exactly how to do this question. And you're going to practice that until you know you can get that. Do not change this for any reason. I am going to give you a test, which is going to be called Review 1. Okay, where we're going to fill the data sheet again. And we're going to see, did this question, now do you get it? Okay, so you cannot change your X's and your checks here because this was the truth at the time you took it. We're going to practice review, and then I'm going to give you a review test 1. You're going to record that, a review test 2. You're going to record that. Now, this column that says final, all right, GCPS has already told me that there are going to be 5 questions. You see 5 questions in this section right here. Right? I don't know which 5 they're going to ask me. So I'm going to follow this section right here. There's going to be 5 questions out of all of these Delta Maths that they're going to ask. Okay? We need to make sure that we know what those 5 are. There's going to be 5 questions on this section right here. So if I go right here, well, this is simple because there is less than 5 questions to go over anyway. So on this one, I can just make sure that I know these 4 things. That means they're going to repeat something. So this is a unit that I want to make sure, for example, this unit right here, which is unit 2, right? I want to make sure you know exactly all 4 of this. So if you're someone who hasn't mastered everything, you don't know everything, and you're asking, where do I start? Because I don't know which 5 they're going to ask in unit 1, I'm not going to start there because look at all of these Delta Maths that they could ask. I'm going to start here because I know that they can ask me 5 questions. They're going to be 5 questions in this section right here, and there's only 4 Delta Maths. So if I make sure I'm really good at this 4 Delta Maths, then I can get the 5 questions correct, right? If I come to this section here, again, this is another small section. They're going to ask me 4 questions from this one, Okay, this is the one that we keep practicing every single time. I've highlighted them because these are the questions that I think you're going to be typing into the calculator. Okay, I do think that. However, you're still going to practice them on Delta Math to make sure that you know them, because again, small section, right? 4 questions are going to come from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means if I learn these 4 things, I can get my 4 questions. So again, I just want to emphasize, Unit 1, I don't know what the 5 questions are going to be, but I can see that there's a lot they can ask from. Unit 2, there are 5 questions, but there's only going to be 4 things they can ask from. So this is where I start. Unit 3, there are 4 questions, and again, it's also another small unit. There's only 4 things that they can ask, right? And here's another one. This 4B goes here too. So this is all 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. There's 5 Delta Maths and 4 questions. So can I get those real quick? All right, so you want to maximize your points for the final. All right, if I look at this section right here, right, there's 4 questions they can ask. Now, they might be more Delta Maths, but this section is kind of a little bit deceiving because most of them are what? Calculator questions. So really, it's not really much I have to know. And this is the same thing because you can see profit gravity. This is area. This is consecutive integers. So this is actually not a lot I need to know. So this will be another unit that I definitely make sure that I learn because I know the 4 questions are coming from here. Most of them are calculator questions, and there's just a few things that I need to learn. All right, then when I come to the last part, so the last section has this part right here and this part right here. Okay, so there's going to be 6 questions. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to guess. Okay, I'm going to make an educated guess as your teacher, and I'm going to guess from transformations, the rules. Okay, please, 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 please memorize the rules. Yes, I've taught you how to use a calculator, but it gets a little tricky with the stretching and shrinking. So again, memorize the rules. There's going to be 2 questions on that. It is worth you learning those rules. 2 questions. On this section here, I think there'll be 2 questions where you're comparing different things. Now, am I saying they're going to compare exactly what we compared? Absolutely not. But you're looking at 2 things and you're comparing. Compare the x-intercept, the y-intercept, compare the maximum, the minimum. Just compare it. Compare the average rate of change. Just compare it. All right, there's going to be 1 question, or I think there's going to be 1 question on average rate of change. And I think they're going to do it out of a comparison. So they're going to give you, like, find 2 or 3 average rates of change and then compare them. Tell me which one is the biggest. Tell me which one has the greatest average rate of change, which means the negative doesn't matter. It just depends. Definitely 1 or 2 questions on that. And then 1 question on these are characteristics. Is it increasing, decreasing, positive, negative? What's the end behavior looking like? Select the form to find the quadratic feature. What that means is, if I'm looking for vertex, right, which form do I look for? I look for the 1 parenthesis so I can pull the vertex. If I'm looking for the x-intercept, I look for factored form. I look for 2 parentheses. If I'm looking for the y-intercept, I look for standard form, no parentheses. So again, these are characteristics. I think maybe 1 question on that. Now, this is a guess. This is an educated guess. So I could be off a question or 2. However, totaling 24 questions. So what I want you to do now is to tell me, right, how many questions are you going to get? So there's a total of 24 questions, right? I want to know first, how many questions will be a 70? So just go ahead and guess and then do times 100. So let me actually delete that. We're going to do this a couple of times, actually. So 24, 24, 24, okay? You're going to guess a number, and I'm looking for something that's higher than just higher than a 70. You're going to guess a number for that higher than an 80. Guess a number for that higher than a 90. Okay, so just put in like 3 divided by 24 times 100. How close is it to 70? Keep guessing until you get to 70. Then keep guessing until you get to 80. Keep guessing until you get to 90. Then I want you to circle. Now, realistically, yes, I would like you all to circle the 90, but let's be real. You know where you are right now. Okay, so if you're at an F, do you think you're going to put in the work to get to an A? If that's you, circle that. Okay, now keep in mind, before you decide, it's not just wishful thinking. You're looking at these points, right? Because now you're going to have to decide, if I'm trying to get a 90 and a 90 is 20 points, I don't know what it is, but just whatever your number comes up to, 20 points. That means I got to get all of this done. I get 2 questions from that, 1 question from average rate of change, 1 question from these characteristics. I got to point count up my point system so that I make sure that I get a 90. And that's going to determine how you work starting over Thanksgiving. All right. For some of you, Thanksgiving is a working holiday. For some of you, Thanksgiving, you already are sitting at an A, is a maintaining holiday. You're just kind of roughly doing a couple of minutes. And I think we can all just say, if you are not at an A right now, you need to do 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes a day where you're working on these sections, depending on what you have identified. Now, come and talk to me about your identifications, about what you have seen. You can grab some points from, because this is the I can get part. All right, so I can get, so I'm looking for 5 points. You need to start checking off which delta mass you can get there. Which delta mass can you get here? Which delta mass can you get here? Which ones can you get here? Et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to hold you to it. So we have 2 weeks to finals. After we come back, 3 weeks, including Thanksgiving break. Let's practice. Let's practice.